Hello everyone. Today we are going to present our extra review assignment titled Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment. So before we start, we would like to introduce ourselves first. So my name is Nur Shalbin Balis Bantulang Saidi.
So my name is Hayatul Syed Anasha binti Abdul Wahab.
My name is Nora Khadijah Biasa.
And my name is Farah Adila binti Mama Ame.
My name is Nara Rubina.
Gender equality is important because everyone should have the same rights and opportunities no matter if they are a man or a woman. But in many places, women still face challenges in education, works, politics, and basic rights. While things are improving, there are still barriers to full equality. First, government action, policies, and laws. Some groups focus on making laws and policies stronger to support women's rights. The first article talks about how Czech Republic includes gender equality in its development programs. Policies and funding are important to make sure women get fair treatment. Second, activism and social movements. Other groups use activism to create change, such as protests and campaigns. The second article focuses on how feminist movements help shape global policies like the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). Activists push for gender equality by raising awareness and demanding action. Now, I will pass to Laila to explain about the summary for each article.
The Article 1 we'll be discussing is titled Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, a Policy Brief. It was written by Audrey Horky and Mila O'Sullivan from FORCE, the Czech Forum for Development Cooperation, and published in May 2010. This policy brief focuses on the need to incorporate gender equality into development initiative, policies, and programs to ensure sustainable progress. The main focus of this article is on the importance of gender equality in development efforts. The authors argue that achieving gender equality is not just about improving the life of women and girls, but also about creating stronger and more sustainable societies. They emphasize that gender equality must be a core component of development strategies to ensure fair and lasting progress. To address gender inequality, the article advocates for a twin-track strategy. This means that gender equality efforts should focus on two key aspects. The first is women empowerment, which involves creating opportunities for women to participate fully in social, political, and economic life. The second is gender mainstreaming, which ensures that all policies and programs consider gender perspective and do not reinforce existing inequalities. By combining both approaches, the article suggests that development policies can be more effective in promoting gender equality. The article makes strong arguments that systematic inequalities cannot be solved by general gender policies alone. While mainstream gender policies are important, they are not enough to address deep-root discrimination and structural inequalities. Instead, the article stresses the need for specific intervention that directly target gender disparities. This intervention can include target programs that focus on women's education, economic empowerment, and political participation. The article also discussed the role of different stakeholders in promoting gender equality. It highlights the contributions of non-governmental organizations and the Czech government in advancing gender equality within development cooperation. NGOs plays a crucial role in advocating for policies that support women's rights and implementing programs on the ground, while government institutions provide the necessary legal financial frameworks to support gender equality initiatives. And the findings and arguments in this article are based on key international reports. Two important source references are UNICEF, the State of the World Children 2007, which provide insight into the global state of children's rights and gender equality. And the second one is the Millennium Development Goals Report 2009, which evaluates global progress on gender equality and other key development goals. So by using this report, the authors support their argument with data and real-world example of gender equality effort in development cooperations. Okay, for the second article, the title of this article is Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, Feminist Mobilization for the SDG, written by Gita Sen and published in 2019. The article examines how feminist activism has influenced the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in shaping policies that promote gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. This article focuses on women feminist activism has played a significant role in shaping SDG 5. It highlights the ways in which activism has helped ensure that gender equality remains a priority in global development efforts. The author emphasized that without feminist mobilization, policies on gender equality may not have been as strong or effective. So, to understand the impact of feminist activism, the article analyzed three key pillars. The first is the political and socio-economic context, which looks at how external factors such as societal attitudes and economic conditions shape feminist movement. For the second one is the institutional framework, which examines how laws, policies, and international agreements influence effort to achieve gender equality. And lastly, the article explores methods of movement building, discussing the different strategies activists use to push for change, such as advocacy, grassroots organizing, and coalition building. And the main arguments of the article is that feminist activism has played a crucial role in shaping gender equality policies, but there are still significant challenges. The two biggest obstacles are political exposition and financial difficulties. Many groups and individuals continue to resist gender equality efforts, making it difficult for activists to push forward. Additionally, feminist organizations often struggle with funding, which limits their ability to sustain their advocacy work. Because of these challenges, the article emphasized that continuous activism and institutional support are necessary to achieve true gender equality. And instead of focusing on individual responses, the article highlights the role of civil society organizations in shaping gender equality policies. It shows how feminist movements work together to push for policy change and hold governments and institutions accountable. The emphasis is on collective action rather than individual experience. The article based its findings on three main sources. First, it looked at civil society statements, which reflect the perspective of feminist organizations advocating for gender equality. And the second one is it analyzed literature on the SDGs, including research and reports that examine the impact of gender-related policies. And lastly, the author draws from her own experience in feminist work related to the SDGs, providing personal insight into the challenge and success of activism.
So that's all from me. I will pass to Shamimi.
Next, I will explain about the author's contribution to both articles. In the first article, the authors analyze how the Czech Republic includes gender equality in its foreign aid. They look at how the government and organizations help women in different countries. Besides that, they also highlight the role of Czech non-governmental development organizations and NGOs in supporting women worldwide, such as helping victims of violence and providing job training. However, they argue that gender equality is not fully included in the country's development work, as there are still gaps in making gender as a main focus. In the second article, the author explains how feminist groups work hard to include gender equality in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal (SDG). She analyzed how feminist activism helped shape the gender equality agenda at a global level. Even though progress was made, she highlights the ongoing challenges such as lack of fundings and political resistance, which still make it difficult to achieve full gender equality. Now I will explain the strands that we can find in the articles. In the first article, it has two main strands. First, it uses laws and statistics to support its argument. For example, it explains that the Czech government must follow the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women, which makes the argument stronger because it is based on real laws. Next, the second article also has long points. One of them is a deep analysis of feminist movement where it explains how feminists work hard to make gender equality an important part of global policies. Another strand is how it connects the past to the present. It explains the story of feminism and shows how past struggles are linked to today's challenges, which help readers to understand why gender equality is still difficult to achieve. The article also highlights barriers that make progress slow. It explains that economic, social, and political situations sometimes support gender equality, but in many cases they do not. And finally, the article critiques the Sustainable Development Goals for not fully addressing gender issues. For the weaknesses in the first article is that it does not include data on gender inequality in the Czech Republic. It talks about how the Czech Republic helps other countries but does not discuss gender problems within its own borders. Another weakness is that the article keeps repeating the same idea that gender should be included in all policies and programs. However, it does not provide deeper analysis or new insight. The second article also has some weaknesses. One major issue is that it talks about the lack of funding for gender inequality, but it does not suggest any solution to fix this problem. And the article focuses only on global feminist activism, but does not talk about local feminist movements in different regions, which are also important in the fight for gender equality. That's all from me. Now I will pass to Farah.
Now, I will talk about findings and implications. Even though feminist movements have helped promote gender equality, there are still many challenges that slow down progress. One big challenge is political resistance slow progress. Some governments do not fully support gender equality, which makes it hard to create real change. Another problem is funding for gender equality. Programs often limited. Many programs that support women do not have enough money, especially in poor countries. Gender mainstreaming does not always solve real issues. Including gender equality in policies is important, but it does not always solve real problems. Many policies sound good but lack real impact. Some governments make promises about gender equality, but these policies are not always enforced. Let's move on to future research directions. To improve gender equality efforts, future research should focus on a few key areas. First, research should check if gender equality policies are actually effective. It is important to study whether these policies really help women in their daily life. Second, research should understand how feminist networks help shape policies. Feminist groups push for gender equality, so we need to study how they can work better and have more impact. Third, we need to find ways to overcome political and financial barriers. It is important to research how government can be encouraged to support gender equality and
how funding for a program can be increased. Lastly, research should explore better funding methods for gender programs. Programs need stable funding, so researchers should look at new ways to keep them running. Now, I will pass to Umaira Khadijah to talk about conclusion.
In summary, both articles show that we are making progress in gender equality, but there are still a big challenges. Things like not having enough data, limited funding, and slow policies changes are holding things back. To fix this, we need more research to see how these policies actually work in different situations. It's also important for feminist groups, policymakers, and communities to work together more. If we can tackle the financial and political issue, we will have a better shot at making real and lasting change. That's all from us. Thank you for listening.